What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Mack Lessons Radio Show. And this is your gracious host, Mr. Tariq Elite, also known as Tariq King Flex Nasheed. Glad to have everybody tuning into the show. And today's show is brought to you by a new book by a brother named Philip Polite. The name of the book is called Sex, Love, and Other Mushy Stuff. You can get it at Amazon.com. The name of the book again is Sex, Love, and Mushy Stuff. The book is about dating, love, marriage. It's funny, entertaining, and informative by the brother Philip Polite. And again, the book is called Sex, Love, and Other Mushy Stuff. So check that out at Amazon. And today's show is also brought to you by MackLessons.com. That's where you can go to get all your Macking needs, all the pay-per-view specials. MackLessons.com. And don't forget to check out Hidden Colors, the great documentary at HiddenColorsFilm.com. Speaking of Hidden Colors, ladies and gentlemen, on February 1st, we want to make Hidden Colors a trending topic on Twitter. So on February 1st, I'm asking you, the listeners, and everybody else, and help spread the word, to make Hidden Colors a trending topic for Black History Month on February 1st. We're going to start off February 1st with some real information. We want everybody to know some real history, not that watered down Black history that we've been getting for the last 100 years. So remember, February 1st, we're going to make Hidden Colors, and I asked everybody to please help make Hidden Colors a trending topic on Twitter. Also, make the Hidden Colors poster your Facebook profile for the month of February. Again, we're going to take control of our history for Black History Month. And this is one way that we can do that. And we're going to use the social networking sites as a tool to do something very positive and constructive. We can get on there and chop up game and spit at the ladies and gossip about this and that. We can do something a little fly. We can do something a little constructive. And that's what we want to do for Black History Month. So remember, February 1st, that's when we're going to kick it off. But I digress. Now let me get right into it, because today is a very special show. We're going to have back on the show our brother, Mr. Professor Griff. We're going to kick off 2012 right. So without further ado, let's get into the interview right here on the Mack Lessons Radio Show. All right, this is Tariq Elite, Tariq Nasheed. We're back, and I have my brother on the phone. He's back on the show. I had him on at the beginning of last year. The brother rocked it. The audience loved this brother. I had to bring him back to kick off 2012 to bring that heat. You know him, you love him, from Public Enemy, the Minister of Information, lecturer, author, has a brand new book out. The brother's going to be down with Hidden Colors 2. We're going to bring that extra fire for Hidden Colors 2, and the brother's just really been representing for a long time, and we need this energy back out here in the game real strong. We have on the phone Mr. Professor Griff. How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, maintain, trying to be like you.
so my brother, what have you been up to all of 2011? What you been getting into?
Well, I think 2011 was a very trying year for me, because, as you know, I came off of my second book, which was Analytics, and coming off of that book gave me the inspiration to revisit the book that I presently have out now, Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop. And the reason why I say that is because in 2008, the Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop was actually almost complete, and my house burned down, and I lost the entire work.
Wow.
I had to revisit it from memory and from having conversations with friends and people that I have talked to, and going back to go get old lectures to put the book back together.
How long did it take you to put all that back together that you lost?
2008 until a couple of months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a labor of love. It's a life work. And, you know, a lot of times, brother, when things like that happen, it's a purification process.
Absolutely.
Simply because what I have in the book now, I didn't have in the book then.
Okay. Now, you talk about the covert war on hip-hop. Now, let's take it back, man, because you guys, Public Enemy, I'm thinking, weren't you guys really the first group to bring a certain consciousness to the hip-hop game?
We vibed off of what Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five set off when they set off the message.
Right.
You remember the song, The Message?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That resonated with us to a degree where we was like, wow, what we need to do is do a body of work like that to raise the conscious level of the people.
Right. Exactly.
So we put that work together. What we started doing is incorporating our life experience. We were taught under Black Panthers, ex-Black Panthers, myself and Chuck. So we just took that work, and then at that particular time, I was FOI, right in the ranks of the Nation of Islam. So we took, and then, me and Chuck went through the African American experience at Hofstra University in New York, Uniondale, Long Island, and we were visiting the slave theater. We were visiting First World. We sat at the feet of some of the greats that we know today, John Henry Clark and Dr. Ben, Shashi McIntyre, Professor Simmons, Professor Smalls, Leonard Jeffries, these brothers. So having access to that kind of information and the elders, what else could we put together?
Absolutely.
But Public Enemy.
Because you guys really introduced a lot of people to Minister Farrakhan, Khalid Muhammad, by playing clips of them in the songs.
Exactly, because we understood the art of sampling. So we not only sampled bits and pieces of Earth, Wind & Fire, Grover Washington Jr., the Stylistics, or Curtis Mayfield, or Temptations, we went back and said, what is wrong with snatching samples of those brothers and sisters that have paved the way for us?
Absolutely.
Let's snatch clips of them and remind people.
Absolutely.
And use it as a reference point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you guys got started in the game, Russell Simmons, very well-respected brother in the music industry. Russell Simmons was very instrumental in just the whole hip-hop game, bringing a certain level of authentic hip-hop to the game. And the thing is, with Russell Simmons, he wasn't a rapper, but the thing is, he was a hip-hop head. Now we have rappers as CEOs of companies. And I know when Jay-Z was the president of Def Jam, a lot of the artists there didn't like it. I know LL spoke out about it publicly. And I'm kind of on the fence about that, because the thing is, LL made a good point. His CEO shouldn't be writing rhymes, and there's a competition there. So how did you feel about rappers becoming CEOs of major companies like that? Or was it this like a puppet master type of thing?
Well, something, I thought it was a very beautiful thing, but once you really look at the statements that LL was making and a few other people were making, like Nas, it almost tends to speak to, okay, you and I are in the game, we're battling one another, friendly competition, exchanging rhymes, out there sharing the same stage and some of the same venues, but yet when it comes to my business,
right,
I have to answer to you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm one of those individuals that did put out an album, and the album got shelved. It just sat on the shelf.
Yeah.
Simply because I was on a label. I was on a label in Miami, Luke Skywalker's label,
right,
with Luther Campbell, and Luke was an artist.
Exactly.
Professor Griff was an artist. Whose album is going to come out first, 2 Live Crew or Professor Griff?
Exactly.
But let me tell you something, what happened to me. When my album did come out, guess what they put on the inside of the album?
What?
Half-naked women.
Oh, wow.
Which is ugly. So I got neutralized.
Wow. That's deep. Now, with the hip-hop game now, man, the conscious movement, man, it started to kind of wane at around, I would say around 93, right after the riots of Los Angeles, the rebellion of Los Angeles, it kind of waned. But during the real conscious movement of hip-hop, why do you think that movement dissipated? Why do you think that movement kind of dissolved? And do you think that it was an authentic conscious movement, or were there a lot of people just doing it because it was the in thing, it was the trend?
No, I truly, truly believe, brother, from my perspective, traveling around, talking to people, going in and out of the hood, going in and out of prisons, going in and out of juvenile detention centers, watching people's lives change.
Right.
You could say that regardless of what my brother, Big Daddy Kane, did, when Big Daddy Kane brought a degree of consciousness, Big Daddy Kane changed people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Queen Latifah changed people's lives. We can't deny this.
Yeah.
I've seen it with my own eyes. So regardless of what we think of these artists today, during the golden era, the conscious era of hip-hop, you understand what I'm saying? These brothers and sisters change people's lives with the high elevated vibratory frequency inside of the music that they were bringing.
Right.
Sister Tanita Muhammad said, we need to raise the vibrational pitch of our thinking. And this is what the golden era of hip-hop did at that particular time. So when you talk about artists coming forth and not necessarily having knowledge of self, maybe they weren't in the 5% nation of gods and earths, or maybe they weren't Muslim, or maybe they weren't firebrand Christians with a black theology.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, whatever degree of knowledge that they brought, they helped raise the conscious level of our people, and we applaud them for that. There's a brother that I know named Tariq Nasheed. Now, you may have his book, but when he brought Hidden Colors, see, that changed the complexion. Yeah. We got to stop viewing him like we used to view him.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is a new day.
Absolutely. 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 I feel that. So now with the hip-hop game, man, we had the conscious movement, man, and it seemed like overnight, man, they started to criminalize the image of hip-hop. Even to this day, man, when somebody does something, somebody don't even have to be associated with hip-hop. If they do something, all of a sudden they're a hip-hop artist. Like, I remember when Chris Brown went through his thing with Rihanna, they kept saying hip-hop artist Chris Brown. Or when Ray J had the sex tape out, it was hip-hop artist Ray J. So they associate all these other people when they do something with hip-hop. And do you think that's a deliberate thing?
It's very deliberate. In my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, we talk about aspects of certain battles and certain agendas that were set in motion. What I often talk about, I talk about how hip-hop being the voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.
Hip-hop being higher infinite power, healing our people. And because of that, it crossed gender lines, it crossed religious lines, it crossed the racial lines. Matter of fact, hip-hop became global.
Right.
Hip-hop had to be neutralized. What better way to neutralize hip-hop than put a label, a package on it so we can put it in the rack at the store to categorize it, and then we can keep it in check.
Right.
I.e. having hip-hop, i.e. having pornography marry itself on to hip-hop.
Yes.
The criminal element marrying itself on to hip-hop. Now what does hip-hop become? As Black Dot teaches in his book, Hip-Hop Decoded from its ancient origins to its modern-day matrix, Black Dot said they take the lowest essence of what hip-hop has to offer and they give it maximum exposure.
That was that whole thing with Luke going to court with the censorship trials, and they were trying to put his albums in the pornography section and all that back in the early 90s.
Exactly, but at the same time, you got slick lawyers and accountants making a way for porno magazines and advertisements to end up on commercials and programs that children are watching.
Yeah.
End up in magazines that are geared towards little kids, having an easy access before you couldn't even put a lock on your TV for your children not to watch certain channels on cable. That's a brand new phenomenon. You couldn't lock the computer before.
Yeah.
You couldn't lock children out. And these people knew this. They dumbed down hip-hop to the point where when hip-hop was actually teaching people, when there was valuable lessons in hip-hop, it was very rare that you got a hold of these particular albums in the store. Why? Because the category that they put it in, it was either way behind the shelf or so high that you couldn't have access to it, that you had to get a ladder to go get it.
Exactly.
It's like, no, I want a brand new album. Where's it at? Oh, it's way up there on the shelf. I got to get it for you.
And a lot of people don't know, man, the way they place the products in stores, that had a lot to do with the sales. I remember that, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why they call it product placement.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only in movies, but if you give the lowest essence of what we have to offer, maximum exposure, when a movie come out, you're not going to have a positive song.
Absolutely. Like even with my books, man, on my books, I stopped putting myself on the cover because I notice in bookstores, any black person on a book cover, they throw you in the back in the black section. And the black section in a bookstore is always in the back at Barnes & Noble's, Borders, without any exception. I've never seen a black book section in a bookstore that was in the front in a major book chain.
Right, exactly. My friend owns a store juice bar in Chicago. I'm not going to mention his name.
Okay.
He hired Becky. He hired Jan and Ashley to work the front counter.
Hilarious.
You understand what I'm saying? He's very successful.
Yeah. That's some deep stuff, man. Now, let me ask you this, man. We all know about the hip-hop cops. We've heard about the hip-hop cops, how there's a police task force that follow rappers. I always wanted to ask you, man, did Public Enemy have a hip-hop cop system? Were the hip-hop cops around in the Public Enemy days? Were you guys being followed like a lot of rappers were being trailed?
Yeah, we were, but it was a different program coming at Public Enemy. They know they couldn't come at Public Enemy the way they would probably do a Jay-Z or someone, simply because we weren't out doing the things. We weren't at the video shoots and the parties and the after parties and that kind of thing, because we were more intellectual.
Right.
We were the ones having the rallies, the study groups. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So they had to send a different kind of agent our way. Let me tell you what the agent looked like, brother. You're probably familiar with this one.
Okay.
They would send a writer to interview you and ask you more crooked questions, and then rearrange your interview so by the time you hear it and it ends up in the paper, you're anti-Semitic.
Exactly.
You hate white people. Let me tell you what this other Asian, what they look like. She's fine as hell, thick, just like you like her, pretty, soft-spoken. Why? Because they match your frequency, and they groomed her to send her your way. You understand what I'm saying? And like any brother would push up on her because she fine as hell. You understand what I'm saying? The next morning you're getting a rape charge. When it was consensual.
You know, Griff,
these are the kind of agents that they sent at us. Yeah. Or they send the dude with all the drugs, giving him a pass because he's never pulled over and never arrested because he's an agent. They give him a pass and they'll snug up next to somebody like Flavor Flav. Before you had to pay for the drugs. Oh, now it's free. So he's always backstage. He's the one bringing the fine chicks in. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he worked in front of people downtown.
Exactly.
How many brothers got caught up like that, bro?
that kind of looks like the T.I. situation.
You ain't lying. Exactly. T.I., Busta Rhymes, I could run it down, bro.
Man, because when T.I. was out here, he go buy drugs and all of a sudden he gets pulled over and goes back to jail. That seemed real funny style.
Oh, that's critical. Let me tell you what they were doing, man. They had a robbery crew in New York and Jersey. They were letting the robbery crew know what rappers were at what studios and what parties and what clubs to rob the rappers. We started noticing, well, these are the same cats that robbed Guru. Oh, man, those are the same cats that ran up on Busta Rhymes.
Man,
like, who they working for?
That's deep, man, because you see all these dudes, man, they rob rappers and they all up on the internet holding up chains, and these dudes never go to jail.
Never go to jail, bro.
Wow.
Never go to jail. Just like they reported that the CIA agents that worked inside of the Taliban and Al Qaeda. We start seeing the same agents in the same news reels and the news clips, and it's like, wow, this cat must be an agent because he's the same one that claimed that he was Saudi, but now he's in Yemen doing some other stuff, helping overthrow the government.
Wow. And you know what, man, back in the 60s, you know, they had the COINTELPRO programs. We're familiar with that, and they would use tactics between different organizations, between the Black Panthers and the US organization, have poison pen letters. They would talk greasy about each other, and those would secretly be agents in inciting all of this stuff. They would do it like nowadays, and I try to tell people they do the same thing now, but they do it on the internet. Are you familiar, Griff, with the Operation Sock Puppet? There's this thing that the FBI and the CIA, they have people on the internet who will troll message boards and start beefs and try to smear somebody's image. Somebody might say, or Griff ain't shit, or Tariq ain't shit, and these people are just very random and they're all over the net. These people, some people say that the FBI is behind this stuff.
Oh, I can truly believe that. I had that experience last year where I actually had to call somebody out and and really get with this brother and just ask him, like, what are your intentions? Because all of a sudden, all this work that Professor Griff is doing, all of a sudden, I'm homosexual. All of a sudden, I had gay sex with gay pets, and all this kind of madness. And I'm like, come on, stop that. Yeah. Stop that. That's an insult to my children. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly. But yeah, man, when you see that stuff, man, remember, man, the government, they've admitted to having people on the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, that work for the government, that will steer these conversations and use these social media networks as smear campaign platforms. So that's a very real thing, and people need to be cognizant of that when they see somebody on the net just trolling around, talking greasy about particular people. Because
right. If we look at, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you look at Facebook, a brother had mentioned to me that Facebook is one of the most secure websites ever. I said, stop that, bro.
Yeah.
If you look at the history of the internet was called the ARPANET.
Yeah.
And the people that financed the ARPANET was members of the CIA. That's why it was designed, Department of Defense. This is why they designed it. Do you remember, brother, back in the day when not so far back, when you went to the store and you purchased something, at the counter, they would ask you for your area code or your zip code?
Yeah. Yeah.
It started out, they was asking you for your phone number. What they were doing was collecting data. After they was collecting data, they was building a file on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So now, with Facebook, you give all your information to these people and let them know who you connected to, who's your best friend, who's your acquaintance, who you're related to, and you put pictures and their address and their emails and their phone numbers. And you have conversations every single day on there. And all of this is being recorded.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now when they go to look for an individual, they don't have to go far.
They don't. You remember back in the day before the internet, man, when you would go get a library card, you would have to give your Social Security number. Even to this day, you have to give your Social Security number to get a library card because they wanted to find out if something popped off with a person. They want to know what they're reading. They wanted to find out the ideology they had. So
I think you need to say that one more time, bro. Yeah. They wanted to find out what we were reading.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So censorship kicked in overdrive.
Absolutely.
Now, can you imagine the internet? How do you control millions of people? Let's go back to what Zbigniew Brzezinski said. He said that it's easier to kill 1 million people than it is to control 1 million people. Because they're out of the control the people business now. They're into the let's just murk 1 million people. Who would notice? It was 879 people that was against Muammar Gaddafi in the in his government, the Jamahiriya. And his government was a socialist government. It was for the people.
Yes.
879 people they counted that was just uprising against Muammar Gaddafi. They made it seem like it was millions of people, and it was a handful of people, bro.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What was the thing? The U.S., man, because they had done business with Gaddafi for a long time, and then when they get tired of dealing with somebody or when they want to do the smear campaign, they go in overdrive. And I know they were mad at Gaddafi for a long time because he had good relations with Minister Farrakhan. What was going on with that?
Well, we have to understand the dynamic behind that. Muammar Gaddafi was already doing business with multinational corporations from England and America. Yeah. As a matter of fact, they are still there. You're right. They wanted the gold that Gaddafi was sitting on. Gaddafi had made his way to the top of the leadership in the African Union.
Yes.
He was opposed to AFRICOM. Muammar Gaddafi put up a satellite to the point where Africans could call Africans around the world and not use American and British and European satellites.
Exactly.
You know how dangerous that is?
Exactly.
And then you're gonna control the oil that Africans are sitting on, diamonds and precious minerals coming out of the earth. There in Africa, and you're going to control that because you're the head of the African Union, and you're not doing the normal business with France, with America, with Italy, and other places, in Britain. Oh, that's a serious dynamic, bro.
Exactly. Exactly.
So they had to take Gaddafi out. Can you imagine living in a country where your medical fees are free? The medical coverage is free. Education is free.
Exactly. Exactly.
Come on, bro. Stop that. You can't find that in America.
Exactly. And I was looking at an interview today, man. There was some social scientists. They were saying, man, with the way the medical and just the military in America is going, they're like the empire is falling. And these are white people saying this.
Right. But let's look at the dynamic from a hip-hop perspective.
Okay.
In my book, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, I don't know what page I put it on. I'm trying to thumb through right now. But anyway, I have a picture in here of Muammar Gaddafi and his son. I have a list in my book of the people. Now, are you sitting down?
Yes.
Okay, good, because you might need to sit down on this one.
Uh-oh.
I have a list of people in my book that Muammar Gaddafi's son had brought in to entertain at private parties to the tune of $1 million an hour.
Damn.
Beyonce's at the top of the list at $2 million.
Oh,
Lionel
right.
Richie,
That's
Mariah
right.
Carey, Usher,
That's
Justin Bieber, Nelly Furtado. I could go on and on. The list is long, bruh. $1 million a pop. No one was talking about this when you was getting your palms greased.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, Gaddafi's a madman. He's a bad man, and we got to take him out. So they approached and went back and asked the artists, are they going to return the money?
I remember that.
You know how many times they flipped that $1 million, bro?
I remember Beyonce apologizing. They had her apologize publicly. I remember that.
Exactly. But see, this gets swept under the rug.
Yeah.
This gets swept under the rug. We don't know this. We don't know that these artists are flying private Lear jets to perform for an hour and you coming home the same night for $1 million. Something is going on, man. There's definitely a psychological, psyche meaning the soul, covert meaning hidden. There's a psychological covert war going on, and our people need to be made awake and aware of what's going on. Because guess what? Ain't nobody on our side. What did they say in the movie New Jack City? Yo, we all we got.
Exactly.
CMP. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly, man. We got to wake it up, man. Did you see, man, around Christmas time, and I talked about this on my show before, the black sneaker riots, as I call it, all our people running around the country lining up, fighting each other to spend $200 on these damn Air Jordans. What do you think about that, Griff?
I talked about that last night, and you know what that is? Edward Bernays, who is Sigmund Freud's nephew.
Yes.
Who's responsible for the spin that we hear about in news clips and this kind of thing. He said that they were going to be able to put something in motion where they will control the unconscious desires in people by mind manipulation and controlling people's feelings and behavior patterns. We looked at it really close, and we dug up a book called the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations.
I got that book.
And this is how they pulled it off. We're able to control millions of people by controlling millions of people? No. We can control millions of people by controlling one individual. How do you do that? You buy him off. You make him wealthy. You snatch his name. You own his likeness. And then you build on it. You build him up as an icon. So when you control that one individual, you'll control the millions of people, i.e. Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You control Mike. We put out a sneaker. We build up the hype. We get a couple of rappers, do some songs about it on a commercial. So by the time we got the next sneaker coming out, you're lining up at 4 o'clock in the morning, neglecting your child. You heard about the sister that left her child in the car?
I saw it. I saw the footage. Yeah.
It's critical. So you line up 4 o'clock in the morning to buy a $200 pair of sneakers. So when the doors open at 9, you're getting trampled to death. You're getting shot at. You're getting maced, and you're getting arrested by the police. Controlling the masses of the people through their unconscious desires.
Absolutely. That's deep, man. That's a deep one. Let me ask you this, man. A lot of people will say, as far as the entertainment business is concerned, because of the images we have, we don't have any black sitcoms on television. Most of the movies with black people of color, it's always in a negative or subservient position, like the movie The Help, which I can't stand. I've criticized The Help many, many times.
Right.
A lot of people will say, well, why don't all the wealthy celebrities get together and just come out with their own distribution company? Why don't the Oprah and Jordan come out with a film company? I think Will and Jay-Z are talking about coming out with a film distribution company. They executive produced this play that's going around the country called Fella, which is a good play. I saw that. But why do you think this has not happened so far? A lot of multi-millionaire entertainers have not gotten together and created their own distribution system, which would work if they did it.
It would work. It truly would work. But you remember they tried that in music. And look what happened.
With Suge Knight and Jay Prince and those guys, right?
Right. They had a private meeting to discuss this.
Yeah.
And they were putting up millions of dollars for a distribution company. Someone let the cat out of the bag, and you see what happened to those brothers. All in about a week or 2 week span of time, exactly. The FBI raided all of their offices.
Yeah, absolutely.
And people think when I tell the story, I'm making this up. It's like, no, it's public knowledge. You can find it if you read. Jay Prince had even admitted that he had agents inside of Rap-A-Lot Records.
Yeah.
Of course there was agents and store bitches inside of Death Row.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So these brothers got brought up on charges. Some of them went to jail. Some of them was brought to ruin. And this is what happened, simply because they wanted to get together and put together a black distribution company to distribute black music. Let me tell you something. They admitted in the book, what is the brother's name that wrote The Economic Hitman?
I know, I can't think of his name, but I always promote that book. Very deep book.
Right.
Man. Very deep
and
book.
They admitted that business is warfare.
Yeah. I promote that book every chance I get. This dude is telling how they doing. He's telling it.
They'll destabilize you by dealing with the finances and the economics. They're sending the hitmen. If the hitmen don't pull it off and don't destabilize the government, then they bring in the military.
Isn't that what they tried to do with Idi Amin?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Then they tried to write these things about Idi Amin, like he fell in love. He had a gay relationship with someone that was one of the journalists, white journalists from Europe, and this kind of madness.
Exactly. They were saying he was a cannibal. They do the whole smear campaign. They go just all, and then they did the movie with Forrest Whitaker. So they do that whole big smear campaign with cats, and they tried to do that with Malcolm too. They tried to do that recently. You know, there was a book out with some black dude talking about he may have had some kind of gay affair. Have you heard about that one?
Definitely, yeah. And it's critical. Those of us that love, honor, and support the legacy of Brother Malcolm, we definitely have to jump on that and let people know that if you know anything about Brother Malcolm, that's not Brother Malcolm. And we're going to check that to make sure that that's not what people will remember when our children's children grow up and look back. And they have to see, this is in print, it's written. So now it becomes part of history.
Absolutely.
If we don't check it and counteract it right now, that's going to be our children's history.
Absolutely. So, man, what do you think, man, the young people out here now, what do they need to do? What needs to happen for them to get their minds right, for them to survive, you know, in not only the next year, in the next several decades, because we know that, you know, the covert war against hip-hop and the black community is still out there. And even with whites, too. I tell people all the time, man, the whites, man, they run game on the white community as well. The whites have they've been lied to as well. That's why the Occupy Wall Street. What's your opinion on the Occupy Wall Street thing?
Wow, now that's deep, brother. Simply in a nutshell, real quick. Do you remember a minute ago, Egypt had an uprising?
Yes.
Certain parts of Africa, North Africa, had uprisings. Yeah. Uprisings all over the place, right?
In Greece, exactly.
And then it hit Libya, and ended up culminating in the death of Muammar Gaddafi.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, guess what happened? The Occupy movement started.
Yeah.
That's a CIA covert operation.
Mm.
And then they installed someone like Michael Moore, who's part of the 1%, to steer it and guide it. And then they kept talking about, well, it has no leader. It really doesn't have an agenda. No one speaks for it. Then what is Michael Moore doing on TV every other night?
Mm.
Speaking for it.
Yeah.
The same occupiers, the vibration of it, the mentality of it, the spirit of it, is reminiscent of the uprising in Egypt.
Yeah.
And so they caught the white boys with Molotov cocktails and bombs and all this other kind of stuff, and they got arrested. Remember recently?
Yeah.
It's white people over there starting this stuff.
Wow.
They caught the whites on the borderline of Iraq and Iran, spying. I mean, there's white people just spying and doing these kind of things, cause of working for the CIA.
Damn.
We can go to our search engines right now and pull up at least 15 cases of white people being arrested overseas, getting caught with bombs and spying equipment and all this kind of other stuff.
Damn.
But they play these stories down, though.
Yeah.
And then we act like these same people that don't go to jail now, all they do is give them a new assignment. And now they become, 50 Cent's press agent.
Oh,
Or
wow.
PR person. You understand what I'm saying?
Damn. That reminds me of that movie. You remember that movie, Catch Me If You Can, with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yes.
Man, this dude did crimes. This dude was like getting millions of dollars, doing all types of federal crimes with the airport, he did stuff that would get any nigga a million years in jail. They gave this dude a smack on the wrist, and they gave him a job with the CIA and the FBI.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that a trip? Yep.
Man, you ever see the movie Wag the Dog?
I heard about that. I've never seen that.
You have to see that, brother. Wag the Dog. What they did is fake on a sound stage, in a movie lot. They faked an entire war. Brought in actors, green screen, the whole bit. They faked an entire war. Fake newscasts, the whole bit.
Wow.
Something like the Wizard of Oz. You got to Oz, and when you finally got to Oz, you just realized there was a little short, fat cracker sitting behind the damn curtain, pulling the levers.
Exactly. Now let me ask you this, man. I know a lot of people have probably asked about 2012. We've been hearing all this, the world is going to end stuff at 2012. And I was just down in Mexico, the Mayan. I was in the Mayan ruins and all that doing footage. And, they laugh at that stuff down there. They know the truth. What's your opinion about that stuff?
Well, I'm laughing along with Bobby Emmett. I'm laughing along with Phil Valentine and Delbert Blair and a few other people simply because, 2012 is now. Here, we need to meet the prerequisite to even enter into 2012 on a certain conscious level. You did with the work that you've done. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
Phil Valentine and other brothers preparing their consciousness to deal with some aspects of 2012 that may occur. But when you're talking about the world ending, what is the world? We talk about the wide world of sports, or what are we talking about? There's different worlds.
Right.
The system that we know of may come to a grinding halt, and you see it crashing around us right now. Them trying to prop up some kind of Republican to go against Barack Obama, and they don't have one.
That's true.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So worlds may come to a grinding halt. They may come to an end. Yes, of course, that doesn't mean the earth. They're getting earth confused with world.
Yeah.
The system that we are under, that we are in, this capitalistic system, this dog-eat-dog system, this have or the have-not system, this big I and little u system that we live under, eroding the middle class. So now we have those that have and those that have not. Knowing damn well if they turn one lever to the left, right, we're going to be able to take, we're going to not be able to, excuse me, we're going to take to the street and loot the stores because there's going to be no food. When you got groups like and organizations like Monsanto's controlling the food,
yeah,
they admitted that they're going to use food as a weapon. Chemtrails above our heads, dropping chemicals on us on a daily and consistent basis. Fluoride in the water. Fake vaccines they're putting out among the people. Drugging the people, doping the people up. So, yeah, this system needs to come to a grinding halt.
Absolutely.
This world needs to end in 2012. Hell, I'm trying to give it a good send-off.
That's real talk. Now, let me back it up again, because you mentioned like the Republican Party and they're trying to get a candidate for Barack Obama. What do you think about Herman Cain? I think that whole Herman Cain thing was a hustle. They knew that dude was not going to be a real candidate. They put him out there, and I think the Republicans brought out all those stories about that dude in order for them to not seem racist, because the Republicans, they're known, people associate Republican with racism. So they bring this brother out here, parade him around like he's going to be the next candidate, and then all of a sudden a million women got sex scandals with this guy. And then now the Republicans can say, well, we're not racist, we backed Herman Cain. That's what I took from it.
And you're absolutely 1,000% correct, but there's just one thing I may beg to differ.
Okay.
And maybe you can correct me.
Okay.
If we do the history of the Republican Party, the Republican Party was the party that was for black people. It was the Democratic Party that was against black people.
Exactly, at first, right?
Right, exactly. So how did it flip? It flipped because the same people control both parties.
Yeah.
I call them the Republicrats.
Exactly.
The same people control both parties. Yeah. So whether it's McCain or Cain, whether it's Romney or Gingrich or whoever these people are, do you understand what I'm saying? Are you qualified to run the government? Now, Herman Cain and Newt Gingrich, if you put the women that they've had sexual relationships with, cheating on their wives and all this kind of stuff, it's probably neck and neck. I think Newt got one up on him.
Oh.
But they're not coming at Newt like that.
Exactly.
I think Herman Cain was set up, just like you said, to make the Republican Party look like we're not racist. Mm-hmm. At the same time, in the back door, handing money out of the back door to the Tea Party.
Yeah, exactly.
So now they're propping up black people to be spokespeople for the Tea Party.
Exactly.
This is dangerous, bro.
It's very dangerous. This
is very dangerous as we head into this election coming up. In 2012, it's going to be a dangerous kind of setting, man. And if a lot of people don't keep their finger on the pulse of global political science, we may get locked out of the whole thing, both the Democrat and Republican Party. We may get locked out.
Absolutely.
We might need to start thinking about an independent party.
Exactly.
How about a revolutionary party?
Yeah. Exactly. Now let me switch gears, man. I know we've all heard about the sex scandals with these universities out there in Philadelphia or in Pennsylvania. That sex scandal. I've been trying to tell people, man, those little pedophile rings and pedophile scandals, that's been going on for a long time.
A very, very, very long time. And guess what? I did your show. Shortly before and after that, I was talking about human and blood sacrifice.
Yes.
Brothers and sisters came at me so hard, man, so hard. I mean, real hard. I said, listen, I'm not saying that Jay-Z is Illuminati, Kanye West is Illuminati. I said they're probably agents of the Illuminati,
right.
But there's a homosexual ritual that goes on in some of these camps.
And when you say that, people think you talking, far-fetched. Man, I tell people, go read books by Aleister Crowley.
Right.
Man, this stuff is documented. Go look back at the Atlanta child murders. Those are sex rituals involved in that. In the 80s, there was all types of sex rituals. The dude,
exactly.
Man, go ahead, bro. Let me let you spit that.
No, go on.
Man,
You're absolutely correct, because it's validating my point.
Yeah. I'm like, I can go, but I just want people to know how real that is. And I know you talked about those blood sacrifices. You were one of the first people to really break it down and bring it to hip hop and let people see the correlation. So I wanted you to show the correlation between that and these new scandals that's popping up that people are like, oh my God, what's going on out here?
But like you said, it's been going on simply because it's initiation rites and their rituals. It's been going on, it's going to go on simply because until these people are neutralized.
Yeah.
So when I brought it out, brother, listen to me. I'm just saying this man to man from me to you. This is not a normal conversation I would have.
Yeah.
If me and you was just kicking it, playing some basketball or whatever, I'm not having this conversation about human sacrifice and blood rituals and them having sex with children. It's not a conversation I have every day. But when I seen it in hip-hop and nobody's talking about it, as much as some people run their mouths, and they see it going on, no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
So when I first started talking about it, they wanted me to oh, Griff, you think that's something really cool to talk about? And yes, it is. Because what if it was your child?
Yeah.
Look in the face of the brother from B2K, the little R&B group with Omarion and the rest of them.
Yeah.
This brother is suffering today because as a child, they molested him. And he's crying out, having to come out on Oprah and let people know that, the people that managed him and the people in the group molested him. This is going on every single day. So when I seen it in hip-hop and I started pointing it out, I even put something on Facebook the other day in reference to Lil Wayne. It was discouraging, man. It's critical. Talk about at 11 years old, he was having sex. Who has sex at 11?
Exactly.
I mean,
man,
it's critical.
There's a video clip that I play in some of my lectures of the actor Corey Feldman. Remember him?
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman. He was in a lot of movies in the 80s. Little white kid. He used to hang around Michael Jackson. His name is Corey Feldman.
Yeah. I know you're talking about,
Yeah, Corey Feldman. He was a dozen movies in the 80s. If you go to YouTube and type in Corey Feldman ABC interview, he was on 2020, I think, and he was talking about at being a kid in Hollywood. He was like, out of his own mouth, he was like, the pedophilia in Hollywood is insane.
Yes.
This is him talking out of his own mouth. He was like, man, I was molested. Hollywood is crawling with pedophiles.
Exactly. And you know who brought it out and they quietly now silenced him?
Who?
It's a comedian, the short brother. Cat Williams.
Oh, wow. Oh, yes. Because in his comedy
he mentioned in his stand-up routine, he talked about the mansion parties, and he went in on Michael Jackson and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he alluded to it.
Yeah.
Shortly after that, Cat Williams got arrested for trying to break into somebody's house and all other kind of charges against the brother.
Exactly. Deep stuff, man. But
very, very deep stuff. Why is it in the culture of hip-hop? It behooves me. Black people, we don't get down like that. Man, you get caught messing with somebody's child. Oh, man, dude, you got to pack your bag. You better get a to-go box.
Exactly.
I'm serious, man.
Exactly. So do you think that's one of the reasons why they feminized hip-hop? And I know we talked about that before, but hip-hop has been extremely feminized with the culture and the clothes now. It's a total contrast from what hip-hop started off. Hip-hop was a very masculine, macho thing. And now we got skinny jeans, leopard prints, flip-flops, snow boots. I mean, rappers. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
I think at the same time, and on the flip side, they're making hip hop so low in the gutter, and it is truly crazy. I got a clip that I show in my lecture now of Nicki Minaj coming out on stage and pulling out a dildo, and then trying to insert it in one of her dances and this kind of thing.
Wow,
this is madness. This is not entertainment. This is the freakish madness that go on behind the scenes. Because hip-hop is being controlled by the Illuminati, and the culture bandits have total control of hip-hop now. So if you want to be a star, you want to be famous, you want your songs out, you want to tour and make money, you got to play the game. You got to take the oath. And Kanye West said what? He says something to the effect, I can't quote him. He said, he know he sold his soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. Yeah. At least it comes with a few toys and a Happy Meal.
Wow.
This is Kanye West.
Yeah.
So when I started talking about him sacrificing his mom, him making statements like he sold his soul to the devil, I'm like, oh, okay. You're admitting it now. All right.
That's the trip. Now, you know what? A lot of people, I've heard artists, like especially Prince and other artists, say that the way the music is now, as opposed to the way it used to be, like music used to be, they had to record it on these analog tapes. And the digital music, there's a way that they manipulate the digital music to where it affects you. It affects your vibrations a certain way. How true is that?
It's very true. When we go into studying the energy centers, which is your chakras,
right?
And we don't understand that your lower chakras are responsible for your urges and your desires.
Right.
There was a gentleman that was in the Illuminati called John Todd, who mentioned the fact that he used to take the masters of the master recordings of the artists, and take it down into a sanctuary and put it on an altar and do rituals and black and white magic around the altar. And when your music is played on the air and the sacred airways, the vibration of the music go out and it resonates with your lower chakras, your energy centers. This is very very true. They can manipulate the tones and the frequencies. This is what they do to behavior modification programs by the CIA called MK Ultra and MK Delta.
Yeah, I've heard of MK Ultra.
So they control the vibratory frequency in the music to resonate with your lower chakras. So by the time you sit in front of the TV and you see a commercial or a halftime at the Super Bowl commercial, oh, you up and running. You got a beer in one hand and a Burger King Whopper in the other hand.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? Because you're trying to feed and satisfy your lower urges and your desires, because this is what they're feeding via the frequencies in the music.
And people don't realize that when you listen to certain music or you see certain things on TV, it really affects you physically. Griff, you remember a few years ago, I think it was in Japan or China, these kids were watching a cartoon, and there was something that flashed on the screen, and a bunch of kids in Asia had seizures.
Oh.
Please,
I definitely need to dig that
up.
Look
that up. These kids had seizures. It was a mass thing with a bunch of seizures with these kids over in Asia. It was well documented, man. It was something they were watching Pokemon or some cartoon.
Right. But you're absolutely correct. But if you look at music and how it affects the brain, we could just Google that and come up with a wealth of information. These what do you call these people that deal with the neurological system, that these people that they bring in, these scientists that they bring in to make these commercials with frequencies and colors and tones, dealing with the neurological system of black people. Coca-Cola had brought these scientists in.
Yeah, yes.
And they base these commercials on dealing with the information that they get from these particular scientists.
Wow.
So they know what black people like. They know that they can control the masses of black people to have all the brothers on the corner wearing white tees. You remember that?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. Speaking of the white T-shirt thing, you know what, man? I was on tour. I was in a city. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I noticed something, man. And I picked up on this around the country. That's the new way of discrimination, where they'll find out what's in fashion with black folks, and they'll say, well, you can't come in here with that on. We're not letting nobody in with FUBU on. We're not letting nobody in with white T-shirts on. I was in North Carolina, and I went to a Galleria area, and they wouldn't let nobody in with white T-shirts, but I noticed all the white people had on white T-shirts.
Exactly. Well, you know, that whole idea of a dress code is what I talked about. And people, and another, it is another thing, and this is not a pity party for Professor Griff.
Right.
But when I started talking about Puffy and doing business with these other people overseas who put the large clothing tag with the L on it, standing for large.
Yeah.
On
smaller clothes,
medium pants,
right?
Medium tag on the large clothes.
Okay.
Thus gave birth to the sagging pants.
Okay.
Because if your clothes are bigger and you're marrying on the criminal element, when you go to jail, you know they take your belt and your shoestrings from you so you won't hang your dumb self. You come back out, it's part of your culture now. You go to buy the clothes are already too big. They're sagging, giving birth to homosexuality and bisexuality.
Yeah.
Dr. Francis Welsing said in your documentary that they're going to step out of the clothes in a minute, out of the pants, and pull up skirts and dresses.
Absolutely.
So we have to understand first. When I talked about Puffy, I said, well, who are these people making the clothes? And they're selling hip-hop gear at certain places. Found out that the agent had admitted that they were putting the implantable biomicrochip inside of the clothes. That's how they were tracking the rappers.
Wow.
And you imagine buying a pair of jeans that are medium, right, with a different tag on it. Inside of the tag and the clothes is a tracking device.
Man.
Or you come up with a Dr. Dre pair of headphones, and inside of the headphones is a tracking device. Or you're able to send certain low vibratory frequencies through the headphones, right?
Yeah. Because
you're playing it it's fast 10. You got it on 15 because it's hip hop, but it's a pair of Dr. Dre headphones, And the frequencies coming from those headphones are different from frequencies coming to through Bose headphones.
Yeah.
And now they got a tracking device in the headphone. I'm not making this up. I'm not making these things up.
Right.
They're attacking the subconscious mind and the energy centers.
And you know, William Cooper in his book, Behold a Pale Horse, the book came out 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. He was talking about how they were going to start using tracking devices on people 20 years ago.
20 years ago, bruh. And he talked about how they were going to dumb the music down.
Yeah.
And the entertainment level was going to be at a 6th grade level. So then we started doing cute little dances, and 40-year-olds started making songs for 13-year-olds.
Mm.
Songs like, I get high, you know I get high, sat at the top of the charts.
Yeah.
Kia came out with a song, My Neck, My Back, yada, 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 whoop, whoop. You understand what I'm saying? And these songs, with no redeeming value to them, sit at the top of the charts.
Exactly.
So artists would say, well, I ain't really got to rap too much or do anything to make a hit song. Look at so-and-so. Look at so-and-so. This is dangerous, man.
Exactly.
Hence my title, The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop. It's a war going on. And they're waging this war against the soul of black folks, man. For real.
Exactly. Let me ask you this, Griff, because I know you guys travel overseas a lot to do concerts still, right?
Right, exactly.
And when I go to Europe, it seems like the audience, the European audience, is a little more sophisticated music-wise than the American audience. The European audience, hip-hop artists go over there, man, and they're like gods over there still. You might not have had a record out in 20 years, but you can go sell out a place out there. And they
Exactly.
So what's the difference with them there than the people here?
I think it's a different level of appreciation there. They read the credits, man. They know who collaborated with who played the bass line on this song, and who performed with who at what festival and that kind of thing.
Right.
They buy the merchandise. They have a series of your albums. They have a body of your work. They appreciate it a lot more. And in turn, you appreciate it. And
Absolutely.
you know the next time you go over there, you really got to, perform. You can't do no 20 minutes and walk off stage.
Yeah.
I remember one time they threw pennies at LL.
Well, he tried to do a couple of songs and bounce, or what did he do?
I think he did a couple of songs. He ended up doing I Need Love. They threw pennies at him. I don't mean to laugh. That's my dude, but I'm saying.
Yeah. You just got to bring it out there. Yeah.
You got to bring it, man.
Yeah.
This is what helped groom Public Enemy. We used to attack the stage, man, with a vengeance.
Yes, indeed.
As a matter of fact, I want to invite you to our shows we're doing out there in a couple of weeks, bro.
Absolutely. When is it going to be?
14th, 15th, and 16th. Anaheim, San Diego, and L.A.
Oh, definitely. I'm there. I'm there.
I'll give you a call before I head that way, man. But it's been a pleasure, good brother. I really appreciate you, man, for bringing me on and giving me this time to express some of these things with the new book. I just wanted to say, man, I did a special chapter called The Illuminati Takeover of Hip Hop.
Okay.
I don't want to sound like I'm doing a commercial.
No, do
young
a commercial.
People have called
Plug
me.
your book.
12 and 13-year-olds have called me, man.
Let everybody know where they can get your book, brother.
Well, if you're lazy and you're just sitting on a couch right now, and you're playing remote control revolutionary, armchair revolutionary, and you just want the book to come to your doorstep, you can go right on PayPal, PCWHipHop@gmail.com. Just go to PayPal, put in PCWHipHop@gmail.com, or you can go to Amazon. Or if you want to get it directly from me, autograph it and with a picture and the free DVD that goes along with it, you can call me directly, 678-557-2919.
Now, before I let you go, you mentioned the armchair revolutionaries. I got to touch on that 1 second because, man, we're being flooded with YouTube scholars, YouTube Panthers, Facebook fanatics. How do you feel about these dudes, man? They read one book, and all of a sudden, they're like the brand new Malcolm X. You can't tell them nothing. They know everything. How do you feel about this new crop of pseudo scholars who really have not put in no work?
You know something with them, these cyber thugs, I call them internet gangsters, man, the cyber thugs.
Yes.
it's critical. They don't even read one book, bro. It's cheaper than that. They'll read a couple of blog sites.
Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go.
And all of a sudden now they're qualified. Well, what qualifies you? You understand what I'm saying? I say we need Black History 101.
Exactly.
Go back and read them books that you and I had to read to get a firm foundation. They missed that class. Exactly. Let me run down some of those books if that's cool with you.
Go ahead, brother.
Stolen Legacy, George G.M. James. You have to read that book if you're going to qualify yourself. You got to read the 5 or 6 books, probably more than that, by Dr. Ben. You got to read Charles Fenton's work, Gerald Massey's work. You have to know who John Henry Clark is.
Yes.
You have to know who Dr. Francis Cress Welsing is. This is work that you have to read. Even bring it up to date, you got to know who Dr. Suzar is, who talks about blacked out whitewash. We have to know who the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is. We have to know Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey.
Absolutely.
If you don't have these books and understand these researchers and scholars, and you haven't sat at the feet of elders to take instructions, and you went through a rites of passage program, sit your ass down and shut the hell up.
Real talk, man. On that note, man, my man Griff, Professor Griff, anytime you want to come back on the show, man, you're welcome. We're going to have you down for Hidden Colors 2. You got to bring that heat like I know you can bring it. And give your book one more time. What's the name of the new book?
The book is The Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop, with a special chapter called The Illuminati's Takeover of Hip-Hop. And you can reach me at 678-557-2919. My Facebook is simply the ex-minister, Professor Griff. If you want to order it via PayPal, go to pcwhiphop@gmail.com. Once again, good brother, thank you, and I applaud you, take my hat up to you, and bow to you for the work that you've laid out. I often use that work for the brothers and sisters that are just coming into the knowledge of self as a reference point. Yes. I tell them straight up, watch Hidden Colors first, then call me.
Exactly. Much respect with that, man. Much respect with that, brother.
So give thanks, man.
All right. Thank you, brother. Peace. So that was the homie Professor Griff right here on the Mack Lessons Radio Show. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. Now, we're going to start getting the finances together for Hidden Colors 2. Right now, we are in pre-production for Hidden Colors 2. We're going to have Griff in there. We're going to have a lot of the people from Hidden Colors Part 1 in Hidden Colors 2. I got a lot of great surprises with people that's going to be in Hidden Colors 2. Hidden Colors 2 is going to be flyer. We're going to have to bring some more heat, and it's going to be real tight. So I want everybody to get involved with the production of Hidden Colors. You need to become producers of Hidden Colors because it's definitely going to be more successful as the first one. The first one was a phenomenal, groundbreaking film. That changed the game. We need to continue to change the game, and we're going to change the game with Hidden Colors 2. So we're going to get the Kickstarter page going in a few weeks with Hidden Colors 2. And again, we need everybody involved to make this thing, take it to the stratosphere, to take it to the next level in the game. So I will keep you guys posted. Follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/Tariq Nasheed. And follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tariq Nasheed or facebook.com/Tariq Elite. The Tariq Elite fan page, you can like that and you can still get updates from me about what's going on. So stay tuned. And again, I want everybody to get involved with Hidden Colors 2. That's been it for today's show. I will holler at you next week. Peace.